All right, welcome Caroline to the Biohacker Babes. Thanks for joining us today.
It's such a great time to be here too at this time of year. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we do put a lot of thought into what kind of episodes we release around the holidays because we like to be realistic. We know people aren't starting some crazy new fitness routine or crazy diet this time of year, but today we're going to talk about something that everyone should be doing every day, but it's something really easy we can do during the holidays, and that's adding in minerals. Because I heard that 97% of Americans are mineral deficient. So just a little bit of a problem, guys, just a little bit. But it's something that we can really easily add in with what you have created with Beam Minerals. So we're going to get into why we all should be doing that on a daily basis. But I would love to hear from you to kick it off. Why are we so mineral deficient? And why do people think that we can get all of our minerals from our diet?
Yeah. Well, I just so you know, I'm a big proponent of the food as medicine movement. And the cool thing is that our minerals are actually food as opposed to supplements that are lab formulated, made from rocks, bones, and shells. Um, so the problem with our food supply is that when you grow plants in soil, all of the structure in the plant comes from minerals. In fact, all of the structure in the entire universe is minerals. When you get down to the foundational level, it's all minerals. So when you grow plants in the soil, the plants grow, and it's true whether it's a small pea shoot or a huge California redwood tree, all of the structure is minerals that it took from the soil. Now, what we do as humans is we grow our food in the soil, we harvest it, we take it over there, we process it, we eat it, and we dispose of its waste far away from where it was grown. And we've been doing this for hundreds and hundreds of years. So the soils that we're doing, and particularly in more recent years, is production farming, which uses things like glyphosate, which actually kills, the microbes in the soil, like makes the soil not really live and juicy. So the foods themselves are mineral deficient, and we eat those foods. So to get the same nutrition from an apple that your grandfather ate, today you'd have to eat six, some people say seven or more apples. That's how less the nutrients are, how much smaller. So
Yeah.
maybe I'll be able to speak as we talk more today. I'm trying to
Well, that's a
find
lot
words.
of that's a lot of sugar. So no, we're not saying go eat 7 apples because you need to get all your minerals, right? There's a better
Yeah,
Exactly.
solution.
but that's
And
interesting.
one
We'd have to be overfed, but we are overfed and we're still mineral deficient, even with eating in an abundance of what we think is food or food products.
exactly. So we're overfed and undernourished. And in fact, what exacerbates it is that we're all drinking bottled, like distilled and reverse osmosis filtered water, which is empty water. And water doesn't actually enter your system when it's empty like that. It goes straight through. So we're also extremely dehydrated and struggling to get the hydration into our cells. So we've got a lot of issues that are foundational to every cell in our body. And so our bodies struggle, and every cell in your body sends you on a journey saying, hey, something's not right here. I need something. I need something. Go looking. And you find yourself opening the fridge after, you know, an hour after dinner looking for that something missing. And in fact, they call this like widespread mineral deficiency the hidden hunger,
Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense.
right?
Yeah.
It's like
Yes.
that thing you can't put your finger on, but you feel like, oh yeah, there's just something.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
body just wants something more.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's minerals.
It's minerals. Okay.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
missing these foundations of our body. I find when I talk to clients, a lot of times, like we've heard of electrolytes, and I maybe you would say we have like an electrical issue, but when I say minerals, people go, huh? And I guess in some ways we could use those terms interchangeably, but minerals sort of opens up this whole other world of
Well, think of it this
nutrients
way.
in our body.
Yeah. So the electrolytes are what we call the macro minerals. They're the minerals that you need a lot of. And the reason they're called electrolytes is because they have a strong electrical charge to them. Okay? All minerals have an electrical charge, some particular, either strength and polarity. But the electrolytes just have a very, very strong charge. So that makes them extremely active in the body, and you just need a lot more of them. So the difference between, we often call them macro minerals, which are also electrolytes, interchangeable, and then micronutrients, which are all the minerals that you need in very small amounts. And all of these included are like 18 to 22, depending on who you speak with, minerals. So 18 to 22, not just like the magnesium and the potassium and the calcium and maybe the zinc or maybe chromium or selenium, but things a lot of people haven't heard of, like molybdenum. You know, did you know you
Or
need molybdenum?
rubidium. That one is
Yes,
always hard for me to remember. I'm like, what's
right.
that?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So what are the macro minerals?
The macro minerals are um, magnesium, potassium, calcium, sodium. Boron is also a macro mineral. You actually use a lot of it, but most people haven't heard of it. You do get a fair amount of boron from your food, but again, all of these, and then there's again, we could try and name the whole list. I might forget one, but I usually can name them. But it's not going to really be useful for people, mainly because you're not going to be able to go out to your health food store and buy a bottle of pills for all of these minerals. First of all, it's not going to work, and second of all, it's not sustainable to take all those pills. And how many pills are you taking a day?
A lot.
A lot, right?
More than the average person probably wants to. Like, we're pretty
Exactly.
motivated, but the average person wants to simplify, which I think is going to extend really well into this conversation. So we grew up in the 80s, early 90s, so we knew Gatorade. Like, Gatorade was the electrolyte. I'm assuming there is not, manganese and zinc and boron and then there's other issues that we could get into, maybe the size, but of course, like all the toxins and dyes and stuff in there. But maybe talk about the size of the structure of these nutrients.
Yeah. Well, what it really comes down to, so when you talk about something like Gatorade, you're talking about salt-based electrolytes. And so this is what most stick packs and different electrolyte supplements that people are using, which became really big during keto and now has continued to grow. And the problem with those is that if you think of your body, this is how I like to describe it, because the image people can understand. Your digestive tract is like the rivers and streams on Earth. What are those? They're fresh water. They're not salt water. Your bloodstream is like the ocean, saltwater system. So the reason our ocean is salty is because these rivers have been flowing into the ocean for millions of years, depositing their minerals and electrolytes and nutrients, and then the water evaporates off and the ocean becomes salty. Okay? It's the same with your bloodstream. You bring in nutrients through your freshwater system and they're absorbed into your bloodstream, and over time they build up and they create a salty slough. Okay? So it's great for you do need sodium in your bloodstream, but your gut microbiome, all of the microbiota, all of the microorganisms, the beneficial bacteria, all of those things are freshwater beings. So when you take salt, large amounts of salt in form of salt-based electrolytes, and you put it into your gut on a daily basis, you're completely messing up your gut microbiome, okay? So salt-based electrolytes were designed for soldiers and athletes to be used in emergency situations. They were not meant ever to be used on a daily basis, not ever.
Wow.
But, put a little flavor in them, make them Gatorade or make them a stick pack, and now people are using them to flavor their water. And, because ketosis can cause different mineral depletion issues, that's how the craze started. But it's just not good for you. And it's particularly not good for aging women, because when you put large amounts of like magnesium in your gut, your body has to balance that amount. So this, now we get into the whole conversation about how minerals actually work in the body.
Yeah. Well, the whole salt conversation, I think, is fascinating because, especially in the 90s, it was like, stay away from salt, causes high blood pressure, right? We heard that. And then it flip-flopped the other extreme. Everyone's doing keto, low carb. We all need more sodium. And so people are dumping sea salt on their food and their water, drinking the salty things. And what I experience and what I've seen with a lot of clients is then we have extremely high sodium, low potassium, and no one's talking about potassium. So these super popular salty drinks, which were just at Hack Your Health, right? I don't even know how many booths were selling salty things.
I know.
Is the only time for that in like an extreme case, like you said, like a soldier or a professional athlete, someone competing in a triathlon? Is that when we should be saving those?
Yeah.
Like in extreme cases?
Well, I'll tell you,
or not even.
Talk to any triathlete or competitive sports person, and they'll tell you when they're doing an intense event and they have to take those salt-based electrolytes, they know they're going to end the race with extreme intestinal distress. They do not want to use them, but they don't know what else to use. So we give them our product and they never go back because they don't have that intestinal distress. I mean, you take a lot of salt-based electrolytes, it's going to give you diarrhea. And why is that? Because your body says, I've got a concentration. I need to get rid of this quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. No one talks about that.
Yeah. Yeah. So the real shift that we're talking about, the paradigm shift, is to change the way you look at your body. And, we're biohackers, right? We've been looking at, I've been working on trying to get well for my whole life because I wasn't well as a child. So I had the view of my body like a car. Okay, I'm going to take it to the mechanic and get it tuned up. I'm going to ask the doctor what to do. I'm going to put this in and fill the tanks up, make sure I've got enough oil, enough gas, enough whatever, and use my macros and all that kind of stuff. And the problem with it is your body is an incredibly complex and wise natural ecosystem. It's a lot more like a forest than it is like a car. Mm-hmm. Now, how does a forest get its nutrients? How does a forest thrive? The plants grow, they take the minerals from the soil, at a certain point they die, and they fall and they decompose and they deliver all of their nutrients in the balanced form that they received them in back into the soil. And during that decomposition process, what results is something called humic and fulvic. And that's what our products are. They are actually the natural tools that Mother Nature designed for the mineral replenishment of all cellular systems on Earth.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mother Nature's smart.
I know it is. Why do we not listen to her? It's so wild. We beat her. I'm like, this is not a competition.
She's like, here, take this.
Yeah, we're all idiots.
The thing is, go on. Sorry, Lauren.
No, you please. You're the expert.
No,
here.
I'm just going to say, it makes sense. Years ago, athletes and soldiers were having a problem, and they were like, oh, we need to figure out how to help these people who are going through intense mineral depletion, electrolyte depletion. And so they went into their labs, and they figured out, how much sodium you need per day, and I need per day, and Renee needs per day, and how much, potassium and calcium, and they went through all of these nutritional elements, and they came out with these numbers which we call the recommended daily allowances or minimum daily requirements, or there are all sorts of different names for them, right? But the problem is, and then people are using them. They're looking on the supplemental facts or the nutritional facts panel. They're going, oh, okay, I got this percentage of this today, and I got this percentage of that. But the problem is that has absolutely no relevance to any of us, because it doesn't take into account our age, our stage of life, whether we're a man or a woman, whether we have a cycle, whether what our way of eating is, what our genetics are, what our epigenetics are, what our health history is, and the issues, our weaknesses in my system, which is different than your system. So when you put all of that complexity in, and then you look at how minerals don't work alone, they work in this incredibly complex natural balance with one another. I'd love to show you someday. I call it's the mineral wheel, and it shows all the relationships between all the minerals, and it looks like this. It's so complex. Not even an extremely smart chat GPT could figure out what minerals you need at any given time. But amazingly, your body knows. Your body knows at any given moment, at any place in your body, what you need, how you need it. Like, is it magnesium glycinate that you need, or magnesium, bisglycinate over here? Or is it, and your body creates those. It says, oh, I need those, put those together. That's what I need right now. It's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. And sounds so much easier because we're just really throwing darts blindly, and most of us are not getting the bullseye. So when we're choosing electrolyte that's like high in sodium, or then there's some that are high in potassium, or some people are like slamming magnesium, then we could worsen an imbalance that we don't even know about potentially.
Yeah, a lot of people, an example of this is people who have cramping. Okay, a lot of athletes have this, older people, a lot of women have it related to their cycle. So people think, oh, I have cramping, it's magnesium, I need to take magnesium, but cramping can absolutely be a deficiency in phosphorus, as an example. Now, here's the thing. When you put a whole bunch of magnesium into your gut, your body has to balance that concentration of magnesium, and it needs to do it with phosphorus and calcium. Where does it get those? From your bones.
And your teeth.
So now you're exacerbating imbalance, and your teeth, but now you're exacerbating imbalance, and it could also, the cramping could also be from an imbalance between sodium and potassium. So there's a really interesting test, and when people want to know, people often ask me, how would I know if I'm mineral deficient? And I say, if you've been to the doctor, if you've thought of going to the doctor because there's something that's bothering you, some chronic issue that you're dealing with, you're mineral deficient. And again, we're all mineral deficient unless we are actively replenishing the minerals in our body. It's just a fact. So, and I've not talked to any scientist or any doctor who doesn't agree with that. Okay, so the trick is if you want to really find out, you can go get tested. So there's really only two ways to test. One is through hair tissue mineral analysis. Take a piece of your hair, you send it off. If you color your hair, you're not going to be able to do that. So the next one is something called a Ligascan. And a Ligascan is a non-invasive procedure. It's not a procedure, sorry. They just take a machine and they shine a very bright light into 4 places on your palm. And it takes that data through an algorithm, and it returns information about all your minerals, your electrolytes, your heavy metals, your vitamin levels. Also will tell you your oxidative stress level, so how many your free radical load in your body, as well as some things about how you're detoxing. So very, very useful test. You have to be physically where the practitioner is. If you guys want to put a link to a Ligascan, so people could go and find out if there's someone near, we can provide that. I recommend that, but the thing I want to say is if you get tested and you find out you're low in potassium, the question is, what are you going to do? Are you going to start slamming potassium? Might not work. I had a woman come recently, she's struggling with iron. Now, her iron is low because her copper is she's got a problem with copper. She probably has parasites. The parasites are actually metabolizing the copper, and so she's not uptaking iron. You see, it's very complex.
And I see that a lot. People see low iron and then they just start taking more iron. I'm like, that's so inflammatory. You don't know. what's happening under the surface. It's not an iron problem, it's dysregulation of using that iron.
Right. Or
Thank you.
Epstein-Barr, right? Epstein-Barr is a big one for low
Yes,
iron.
exactly. So
Yeah, it's
these
very
these
complicated.
these issues, that's why I try to help people understand minerals are ecosystem tools. To use them properly, you have to shift your paradigm from supplementation, which means just putting a whole bunch of stuff in that goes mostly straight through you, to replenishment. That means you need to understand how your replenishment system works and what are you putting into your replenishment system? How bioavailable is it? So the difference between using minerals, single minerals that throw your balance off in your gut and in your body, to using plant-based minerals that are made of plants. Your body can digest and break those down very easily, or even better, use our minerals, which are already completely at the component size, ready for absorption, and require no digestion at all. So if you
Yeah.
have gut problems, you've got gut lining problems, you've got SIBO, IBS, you've got Crohn's, you're still going to absorb them.
Wow. Yeah, so let's talk more about the humic acid and fulvic acid because I actually find a lot of people are still not familiar with these terms. So I guess to start off, where do these come from? Because they're naturally found in the earth, on the earth?
Yes,
Where are they coming
yes.
from?
So when freshwater plants decompose, they go through a microbial decomposition process, and the result of that are these two molecules. And I'm just going to call them humic and fulvic because acids are a different thing. So the basic molecule is humic and fulvic. And actually, fulvic is part of the humic molecule, but you can extract it out. So the original molecule is actually humic. Okay.
Okay.
Now, where it comes so let's talk about where they come from, like in supplements or different tools you might buy that have humic and fulvic. So imagine 65 million years ago, the Earth was covered with rainforests. It was a warm, damp climate, and a meteor hit the Yucatan. It killed 75% of all life in a few hours, and all of these rainforests around the Earth died and decomposed, and they became a strata of the Earth. Okay, in the Himalayas we have something called shilajit. You may have heard of that. It's a tarry substance that many people use. Or in the British Isles we have something called peat, and people use peat in the same way. It's a humic substance. In South America there's terra preta. There's another one in Eastern Europe, and in North America we have several materials. Leonardite is one, and humate is another. That's what we use. It's a black, crystalline, incredibly mineral rich substance. So mineral rich that you might need in an entire year like maybe a quarter cup of the base material, maybe a half cup, like a very, very small amount. Okay. So what we do is we take that material and we take it through this non-chemical extraction process. Now, when you get humic acid and fulvic acid, that's just humic acid. They're acids because they've been extracted using hydrochloric acid. Not a bad thing. You've got hydrochloric acid in your stomach, but the only difference is those taste very bad. So they're used a lot in agriculture. In regen farming, they know all about humic and fulvic, and they use them a lot, humic and fulvic acids. But if you've ever tasted colloidal minerals or products that use fulvic or humic acid and you taste them, they taste bad. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
yeah, exactly. So that's why we have to tell people that our products taste like water, because soon as people hear minerals, they think it's going to taste bad, but ours literally tastes like water. So we extract the fulvic out of the humic, and then you have these two amazing molecules that become tools that you can use to support your ecosystem. And that what's cool is I call them Mother Nature's technology, because they truly are a technology for mineral replenishment and full system detox. So they have incredible detoxification properties as well. Sorry, I just go on and on.
Yeah, that's a great explanation.
One more so for detox, because I've heard you talk about using one before something like a sauna versus one after.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about them because the two molecules have really different properties, but they all both provide detoxification. So let's talk about the fulvic first. So the fulvic is a very, very small molecule. If you make a fist and then you imagine the very tip, the sharp tip of a pin, the sharp tip of a pin would be the size of a fulvic molecule relative to a fist being your cell. Okay. Now,
Wow.
the beautiful thing about this fulvic molecule is that it carries with it like all of the minerals your body needs. And it has an amazing property. It is a delivery system for minerals into your cell, into all of your cells in your body. It goes everywhere in your body. The interesting thing is because fulvic has been on the earth for millennia, and your cells evolved on the earth, your cells recognize fulvic. So today, if you've never used fulvic and you put fulvic in your body's going to go, hallelujah. I can finally get some more minerals into my cells. That fulvic hits up against the cell and the cell goes, great, this is fulvic, bring it in. It recognizes fulvic as a beneficial substance. So now imagine a magnet, and you know how metal sticks to a magnet. If you can turn the magnet off, then the things fall off of the magnet. Now, this is the amazing thing about the fulvic molecule. It does something no other molecule on Earth can do. It can change its polarity. So what it does is has all these things can attach to it because it's an extremely strong electrolyte molecule. So it has all these minerals and nutrients attached to it, hits up against the cell wall, goes straight through the cell wall into the cell, and then it changes its polarity, which is like turning the magnet off, and those things drop off inside the cell. Amazing thing is, it's now delivered nutrients, and not just one magnesium molecule, but a whole bunch of magnesium molecules into your cell.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
super cool.
Intelligent.
It's
Yeah.
literally intelligent. It's literally intelligent. And when you study how that happens, there are actually a lot of scientists around the world are studying it. Big Pharma is studying it as a delivery system for drugs and to people's system for pharmaceuticals, et cetera. So that they can't really figure out how it happens because there's no other molecule on Earth that has that capacity to change its polarity. So now it's in an opposite polarity. It travels around the cell and it picks up biowaste, toxins, heavy metals, nanoplastics, viral detritus, glyphosate, other just biowaste, and it carries them out of the cell. Now, so the channel opens in the cell. Now it carries those things out, and it changes its polarity again, and it drops those things in the bloodstream. So it's literally like taking out the trash. It's literally gathering the stuff up and taking out the trash out of your cells and dropping it. Okay. Now we get to talk about the humic molecule, which is really different. So the humic molecule, if you imagine the humic molecule is a fist, is your fist. The head of a pin is your cell. Okay. So the humic molecule is very large. It hangs out in your bloodstream. The interesting thing about the humic molecule, it's got a surface like a sponge. If you can imagine a sponge and all of those pockets and surface area, it's a polyelectric electrolyte molecule, meaning that different areas of its surface can be positive and negative, or another area could be negative. And it travels through your bloodstream, picking up biowaste, toxins, heavy metals, biowaste, I already said that, nanoplastics, viral detritus like spike proteins, graphene oxide. It gathered, and glyphosate particularly, it's one of the most well-known and excellent binders of glyphosate. And it will actually build a film and sequester the glyphosate in the molecule. it's like it acts like a magnet in your system, gathering heavy metals. And then ultimately, this molecule has all these things clinging to it, gets very heavy at a molecular weight, and it falls out of your system. So it's like the one that takes the trash out of your neighborhood. You know, it's the garbage man. You know, I call it Mother Nature's janitor because it lives in your bloodstream, just constantly picking up the trash and taking it out, just gently, continuously detoxifying you.
And how is it excreted? Through stool
Through,
or do kidneys process it?
well, this is the cool thing. So if you think about nature and how nature, so this is nature's tool for detoxifying all cellular systems, okay? And nature didn't say, oh, we have to have a liver over here, we have to have a kidney over here. It had to use every system, okay? So Humic will use your tears, your snot, your sweat, your saliva, your earwax, your, of course, sweating, your just sloughing off cells, the bottoms of your feet, and of course, your feces and urine, okay? So,
That's cool. I could be like, ooh, glyphosate. Goodbye.
well, and people often when they first start taking Humic and Fulvic, they're like, wow, my tears are really itchy, or they feel, you know, like they irritate, like
Salty or
because there are toxins coming out, or they might get a few pimples, you know, or they might, you know, it depends. So, and we can talk about how to use Humic so you minimize any detoxification symptoms that you might have, because I'm a very sensitive person. So this is how I drink my Humic. I put it in a big glass of water and I drink it through the day, and then I won't have any kind of symptoms because I've had mold exposure. So my system is very sensitive.
rather than taking a shot and just
Yes,
having like a concentrated
correct.
solution.
Yeah, yeah.
This is so fascinating. I'm just to go back to the fulvic acid. I'm curious. You talked about the cell, it being able to just go into the cell and come out of the cell. What if the cell membrane is not healthy? If it's rigid from toxins, inflammation, does that prevent it from getting in the cell, or is it small enough that it can still get in?
Thank you for mentioning that, because this is one of the big problems that so many people are dealing with is cell lining health. Okay? But guess what? This is so cool. So the humic molecule, this is another property of the humic molecule. So the humic molecule hangs out in your bloodstream, and when it hits up against a cell, it increases cell wall permeability. It interacts with the proteins in the cell wall, causing the cell wall to open a channel.
Huh.
So you may have clogged cell linings or cell linings that aren't very healthy, and the humic molecule supports that permeability so that the fulvic molecule can then also increase and enhance nutrient uptake and intercellular detoxification. So this is why I call them a technology, because they truly work together to support all cellular life on the planet. Isn't that phenomenal?
Yeah. It's amazing how many things this alone can replace, because, you know, most people are taking something for their cell membrane, something for plastic, something for glyphosate, something for heavy metals, right? They got like a counter full of different supplements for all the things, but this is so simple, you know, just Mother Earth's technology.
Exactly.
That
And
is
this is,
cool.
this is what happened to me in my story. So about 10 years ago, I came out of a corporate career. I mean, I'd grown up with an autoimmune and I had gluten intolerance, and, but I could never even after being gluten-free, couldn't get over the gut problems, bloating, elimination issues. I had really bad inflammation in my mouth, major gingivitis and deep pockets. I had bone loss in my teeth. I had recurring sinus infections. Like every season or more, I would get sinus infections. I didn't sleep at night. I woke up 3-4 times a night. I've been insomniac all my life, okay? And I was introduced to these minerals. And of course, I've spent probably over $100,000 on my health, just trying to get healthy. And then I also had a mold exposure event. Terrible. I mean, really, really, really a terrible situation I was in. And I started taking the minerals. After 2 months, I went to my dentist to have my teeth cleaned. I had to have them cleaned like 5 times a year. And she looked in my mouth. She's like, what's changed? The tissues are pink and healthy. They're not red and inflamed. You didn't bleed when your teeth were cleaned. What's going on? I was like, I don't know. Maybe it's these minerals I'm taking. She's like, oh, keep doing it. So then I went to my naturopath 4 months in to have the results of my adrenal tests. We've been trying for over a year to jumpstart them. They were at or below baseline, and they were 1/3 of the way up the chart after 4 months. So then over the space of 8 or 9 months, all of those symptoms that I described and more completely resolved. My hair started to grow. People were like, wow, what's going on with you? You look really good. And I'm like, yeah, I like feel great. And I mean, because so many things changed, I kept going back to my friend, who's now my business partner, saying, what is it with these minerals? Nobody, not a single practitioner ever mentioned to me that I might be mineral deficient. Not a one.
Ugh,
So
that's
Not a
overlooked.
one.
crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So
I
I
mean, and that,
started researching at that point, and that's when I literally went down the rabbit hole, because everything I learned, I was like, why didn't ever someone tell me this? It's like we're driving around. It's like you wouldn't buy a car without knowing how to fill up the gas tank or even check the oil. You might not know that, but you'd probably know you should, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And and that's what it's like for us. We don't know the basics of how our body is fueled.
no, we're taught to drink water, but no one is telling us what kind of water. And then there's still plastics or like over purification, as you mentioned before. It's crazy. And I love this story about the dentist because, our dad's a biological dentist, our mom is a holistic dental hygienist. And a lot of times they see that. It's like not how much the person brushes or flosses, but when they find out what their diet is, that really informs the health of the mouth a lot of the times.
Yeah, you should get them using B minerals in their practice for their really difficult clients, because it can make such a huge difference. Yeah.
Yeah. It's on their
Okay.
personal counters. I'm sure
Yeah.
my dad has started to incorporate that, but yeah, I think after hearing this, it's going to be everywhere in the office for sure.
Well, and when
Yeah.
I went to my dentist and I realized that the minerals were helping, before I went to bed every night, I would just swish some around in my mouth, particularly of our electrolytes, and I just let it sit there overnight. So I'm sure it was even more so helping over time. So yeah,
Good. Very good.
Interesting.
yeah, yeah,
Okay. So I want to talk about the two different products.
yeah.
Because even sometimes I'm a little confused, best time of day, should I take them together before sauna, before bed, let's break the two down for our
Yeah, well, I
audience.
do want to kind of just recognize that because so many other supplements are so specific,
Yeah.
everybody's like, oh, you have to take this without food, away from food, with what, whatever, you have to do it in all these different ways. And this is, again, I want to remind people that because these are natural ecosystem tools and out in nature, it can't say, oh, you can't have it with this, you can't, it just has to work. Okay?
Okay.
Just has to work. So super simple. Okay. I'm gonna talk to you about it in two ways. One, if you're a simple person and you're not a sensitivo, you can just take a shot every morning of both of them. For a smaller person, my size, maybe 100 up to 150 pounds, you just take half a capful, which is about half an ounce every day of our electrolytes and micro boost. Okay, that's all of the minerals you need, plus the support for the uptake of all the nutrition you put in your mouth, and the constant continual detoxification of your system. That's all you need. It's very, very easy. Now, there are also tools. So let's think about electrolytes, which is the Fulvic product. We've separated it for a couple of reasons. If you're a person who really struggles with energy, okay, or if you don't sleep at night because your body is actually saying, I need something, I need something, I need something, I need something, I need something. So it's got your nervous system on high alert, which makes it hard to sleep at night. Whereas if you fully mineralize yourself. I sleep through the night almost every night. And having spent 30 or 40 years as an insomniac, that is an absolute gift. Okay, and a very light sleeper. Even when I travel and there's weird sounds, I go to sleep and I wake up the next morning. It's miraculous.
Wow. That's
So,
I've
huge.
always been a light sleeper, and the other light sleepers that I know, they blame the sounds, and I'm like, but it's the body that's receiving the sounds that I think is the problem. It's not the sounds, because other
Yeah.
people can sleep through sound.
so imagine your body, instead of sending a signal, I need something, instead it's saying, everything's good here, everything's good here, everything's good here, got what I need, everything's fine, things are cool. Your cortisol levels drop, everything, your nervous system calms. Now you have more bandwidth to respond rather than to react. I mean, it changes your emotional state, your energetic state, your relationship with yourself and the world. I mean, this is my experience, my own experience. So it's about the physical health, but there's so many other benefits. The brain fog clears, so
Yeah,
humic and
think
Yeah.
fulvic.
about all
So
the mental health disorders that have mineral imbalances at their root. Like, we could support so much in the world.
yes. So
Yeah.
imagine, minerals are like the first thing you start with. You've got all your other biohacks you might want to do, okay, and that's great, whether it's, HRT or whatever it is, okay, hormone replacement therapy or whatever it is. But without the minerals, nothing works in your body. 5,000 biosynthesis processes, over 5,000 biosynthesis processes in your body require minerals. Okay? They require minerals. Every single cell in your body, you've got 37 to 150 trillion of them, requires minerals to generate energy. So if you don't have enough minerals, so your body can generate, when it's fully mineralized, about 1,200 watts of electricity in a day. And the way that that's generated is inside your cells, most of it, by your mitochondria. So the mitochondria, the way I like to describe it is, if you're going to build a campfire, you're going to need some wood, and you're going to maybe need some paper to get the wood started, and you're going to need a match. The mitochondria is like the match. It's the tool that enables you to turn fuel into energy in your system. But the wood and the paper, those are minerals and amino acids. Your body makes a lot of amino acids. It makes no minerals. They all have to come in from the outside. So if you don't have enough of this basic fuel, you can maybe only generate about 800 or 700 or 500 watts of energy. And then what happens is your body has to pick and choose. That's what was happening in my body. My body was so depleted, so well, we're going to keep the lights on, we'll keep our heart pumping, the blood flowing, we're going to keep the basics going. But hair, we don't need that. We can't clear this inflammation.
Yeah.
You see, it operates at a much lower level. So minerals are that first thing. If you can, and particularly electrolytes, our Fulvic product, it's the first thing to start with, because it's going to uptick the nutrient. It's going to enhance nutrient uptake into your cells where energy is generated. It's like putting wood on the fire. Just like putting wood on the fire.
So, for someone that is really depleted, maybe it's adrenal stuff, chronic fatigue, insomnia, could you do a full cap of both products to like
Absolutely.
get
But
back? Okay.
yeah, and the only thing I'm going to say, because there's so many people now, particularly since COVID, and I'm one of them, who is very, very sensitive to detoxification. Okay. So Humic, which is our product called Micro Boost in the Micro Boost in the blue bottle, it's the one that makes my glass of liquid dark. And
Yeah.
the thing about it is, because people experience detox symptoms when things leave their body. Even though the fulvic is doing intercellular detox, you don't get detox symptoms because it's not leaving your body. Okay, it's in the
Okay.
process of leaving your body where you get, it's some indigestion, or you get some muscle or aching, or you get headache, or you
Headaches.
get pimples, or you get rashes, all those kinds of, we call them Herxheimer or detox responses. So the beautiful thing is having the humic as a liquid. If you're a sensitivo like, yeah, I am, you're going to start slow. So I would recommend for somebody who's just starting to put a quarter teaspoon of the microboost in a glass of water and drink that. And then do that for 3 days because it accumulates in your system. And then you're going to raise it another. So we have something called our slow introduction method, very easy to do. It's accessed through a QR code on the back of the bottle. And you just follow those directions. And then you're not going to have that, you're not going to have those potential of detox symptoms. I'm just
Okay.
letting people know that because, some people go, oh yeah, I tried that. It made me feel funky. But that's because you're actually detoxing. That's a good thing. Your body is saying, I've got some stuff and I'm very happy to have this detox tool. And now I'm going to just do it too quickly and it causes symptoms.
Okay. I've
Yeah.
never experienced that personally, but
Yeah.
I'm not the super sensitive with that. So,
Well, I'm telling you,
yeah.
sometimes I'm at a show, a trade show, and I'll just take a shot of our microboost. And then the next day I've got a few pimples on my face, like
Mm.
within 24
Wow.
hours. Yeah. So my system is very, very sensitive.
Okay.
So I always have to drink it in a big glass of water. So there's, since COVID, before COVID, we had so few people ever mentioning that they were having some sort of symptom. Since COVID, it's lots and lots and lots of people. Yeah.
Mm.
And
Interesting.
Um,
maybe also from the vaccine.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
there's a lot
yeah.
going on. So since you are diluting it, what kind of water would you put it in? And for someone that's using an RO, but then maybe remineralizing with like an alkalizing solution, like AquaTrue does,
Yeah. Yeah.
would you recommend the remineralized or just the purified water?
So what I do is every time, so this is what I do in the morning for my replenishment. But every single time I fill up my glass, we use reverse osmosis water here. I take some electrolytes and I just put a splash in there. So, in addition to the foundation of getting your half ounce or your up to your full ounce, if you're a very active person, you work out a lot, absolutely. Every time I fill my water bottle, I put some electrolytes in there. So you don't want to be drinking empty water because empty water in your system goes straight through. You're just irrigating. You actually end up flushing minerals out of your system with empty water. So if you're buying water in a bottle, you should buy spring water for sure. But I'm not really a big fan of the remineralizing thing for reverse osmosis water, mainly because it's just not full spectrum.
Hmm.
Um, and the bioavailability of those minerals that are going back in is very, very low. Whereas the bioavailability of this, which is ionized, so ionized means that the minerals are already at the component size ready for absorption.
Hmm.
You
And
know,
that's the
I know.
problem
It's
with a
okay.
lot of electrolytes. The molecules are just too big. And so people are like, I'm hydrating, but I never feel hydrated, or I'm drinking a lot of water. I still feel thirsty.
exactly. So
Mm.
I work with a lot of athletes and trainers of pro athletes, Olympic athletes, triathletes, mountain bikers, cyclists, runners. Just got an amazing thing from a runner who's just struggled with gut health for years, and he just got off of the salt-based electrolytes altogether, and it's radically changed his ability, his endurance, his sense of hydration and replenishment. No cramping, like they never go back. They never go
Wow,
back. And the beautiful
that's
thing about
amazing.
these tools is, if you take too much of a stick pack or salt-based electrolytes, you'll definitely get diarrhea.
Yeah.
So, but with this, you can take a lot because what you're doing, you're not creating a concentration of any one single mineral in your gut. You see, you're bringing them in. This is the one thing I didn't tell you that's so cool. So your body is made of and utilizes a ratio of minerals. That's what we call the macro minerals, the ones you need a lot of. And then we have all these micronutrients. The beautiful thing about the humic and fulvic molecule, they are pre-formulated by nature in those same ratios. which makes sense because guess what? The cells in your body at a mitochondrial level, they work the same as a cell in a tree.
Wow.
They need the same ratio of minerals. They operate the same way when they're generating energy using via the mitochondria. It's the same. So as above, so below. So nature was like, well, I'm not going to be able to get magnesium in here and potassium and calcium and psyllium, but whatever is needed, I'm going to have to create a pre-formulated molecule. You see?
You've really simplified something like an HTMA test where we're kind of playing chemists. It's like take 50 milligrams of this and 30 micrograms of this, and we're like guessing and we retest. I mean, I really like that test, and I've learned more and more about it. But it sounds like this is a precursor, just at least to get you going. Then maybe if you're continually seeing imbalances, we could dig into the nuances of that. How do you interact with those?
Yeah. So there are things. So I'm going to tell people. This is from my research what I see. You can go get tested just so, if you want to know, okay, and you want to know if you have a deep depletion in something. And I'm not saying there is never a time to use a single mineral to, in a short period of time, bring up an intense depletion of a single mineral. However, if you use Humic and Fulvic over a period of time, it will balance your minerals. If you have a deep depletion in a particular mineral, chances are you have some exacerbating problem, like an overgrowth of yeast, or you have parasites, or you have some other imbalance with other minerals, or you have heavy metal toxicity, because, as an example, certain heavy metals take up the receptor sites for beneficial minerals, so you might not be absorbing because you have heavy metal toxicity. So you can't just look at your profile of minerals and go, okay, I just need to take more magnesium today, or now I need to take more of this or that, because it's not really going to work. It's not necessarily going to work.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, if I know a few people, and I'm telling you, there are very few people, but I know a few people who can look at somebody's profile and go, oh, you have parasites. Oh, you have yeast. Oh, you have heavy metals, and it's probably this. Or, all sorts of different things like that. Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because I did the, I always say it wrong, oligoscan? Oligoscan? Oligo.
And oligoscan. It's a weird word.
Yeah. And the only thing that came up was a zinc deficiency. But it was interesting because you said not only do you have a zinc deficiency, you've had it for a long time. He could tell from the test. But everything else looked great. And I thought that was interesting.
So it's an interesting thing, though, because the zinc can be related to copper, which is related. There's relationships there. If you ever want to go deeper into that, I can recommend somebody for you to talk to. If it continues to be low.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I need to retest actually because that was probably 3 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And our dad has one at his practice in Maryland, which I'm going to be there in a couple days. So, hey, Dad, I might hit you up for a new test.
Oh, yeah. You should do that.
Do it on the same day.
Okay.
That's a great idea. You guys should do that, and then contact me, and I'll hook you up so we can see if we can actually have you get some more diagnosis about what your imbalances or deficiencies actually might mean, which is kind of the next level conversation.
Yeah, why is this happening? Which I'm always curious about, because most people don't do that, even functional people. They're just like, here, take this. It's like, no, but I want to know why. How did I get here in the first place?
Exactly.
Right.
And this is again where I'm, so my book that's coming out in the spring, it's really about this shift of starting to look at your body more as an ecosystem. And when you, let's say you have weight issues, well, that's an ecosystem issue. It's not, it's actually not that you're not disciplined enough. It's something is imbalanced in your ecosystem. Or let's say you're constantly dehydrated. It's an ecosystem issue. So sleep, it's an ecosystem issue. When you start to look at things from that perspective, it changes what you're going to do about it. Because instead of playing whack-a-mole, which is like, oh, I don't sleep well, so I'm going to take magnesium every night, you're actually creating other problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pops up over here, then pops up over there.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah, whack-a-mole.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have been very diligent about taking B minerals. I almost every single day. I think when I travel, I miss it because I do the liquid. But since February, I've been really, really good about it. So let's see what happens on the test. Very curious.
I'm very curious too. So I really hope you'll let me know. I'd be very
Yes.
interested.
Yeah.
All
Stay
right.
tuned.
Awesome.
Yeah, we'll definitely reach out to you.
Yeah.
Cool.
I just have one more question, and then I want to hear more about the book, and we'll share resources for how to find you. I'm definitely like a less is more person, or I certainly try to be, and also with clients. So it's not just about like add this in. What can we remove that could be harming our minerals? Is there anything else you want to share about glyphosate or grains or non-organic food or stress? Like, what are the things that people can think about foundationally before they add in the minerals?
Yeah. Well, the problem is that I actually believe minerals are the foundational piece. It's the first thing you should do. And most people think that the stress, it's a very stressful world that we're living in, and they see stress as coming from the outside. And what I'm trying to help people understand is a lot of the stress you're experiencing is coming from the inside, because every single cell in your body doesn't quite have what it needs. How do you feel when you're hungry? Hangry, right? You feel on edge. So if you can solve this foundational, first thing, if you can first solve that by giving your body all of the minerals it needs in the natural ratios in a very bioavailable way, that also supports the enhanced delivery of all the other nutrients that you put into your body, into your system, right? And continually cleans out, takes out the trash, you've done a huge number of things. But beautifully, you don't have to take any other mineral supplementation. So if you're taking zinc, let go of it, okay? If you're taking other things like a B vitamin that's got magnesium in it, let go of it. If you're using salt-based electrolytes, please let go of it. You do not need it. So you simplify. And in my book, what I do is I actually take people through a reset program. And one of the pieces is actually to line up all the supplements you're taking and look at the back label. What all is in there? Do you even know what it is? Do you know what it's doing and how it's working with you? Like, do you actually know anymore? And how many of those things have minerals mixed in that might be exacerbating your mineral balance? Maybe you need to switch that out so you can get the active ingredient you want without the added minerals, you see? So, because we're thinking ecosystem here, okay? So it's a really different way to think.
I love the way you think. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. We had a recent guest who he makes all of his clients sit down and they have to write 1 to 2 sentences about why they're taking each supplement. And if they can't do it, then either the supplement's got to go or they need to learn.
Exactly.
It's like, that's good. That's good.
I love that. I love that. And somewhat like what I do. Like, do you know what these are and like why you're taking? If you don't know, go ask the practitioner who told you need to take it. Yeah.
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 That's great. So speaking of your book, so you said it comes out in April, but it's available for pre-order now?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can go to mineralresetbook.com. The book is called The Mineral Reset, and it's an essential guide for restoring your health and rebalancing your ecosystem.
Wonderful.
If you need a last minute Christmas gift, but also we're really trying to set up the New Year's with foundations. This is the perfect way to kick off. So we're so excited to have this education. You've really simplified so many people's problems. Thank you. It's incredible.
Yeah, my dream is for people to stop taking a handful of pills every day.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be ultimately better for the body's ecosystem.
Yeah. I just got to my parents' house and I found all these old supplements. I'm just dumping them all in the trash and recycling all the bottles. I'm like, so much waste.
Well, and this is what I say is like, I've spent time in the supplement aisles and health food stores and stuff, talking to people, and they're buying like this mineral and that, and they're like, should I get glycinate or, whatever, gluconate or glycinate, and I know that most of that stuff is going to end up in the supplement graveyard, right? The cupboard, everyone
Yep.
has at home, filled with the bottles of stuff that they didn't notice a difference or they just didn't want to keep taking. It's
Hmm.
not sustainable. Originally
Yeah.
we have a practitioner program for those practitioners who want to work with us. And they came to us and they were like, you don't understand. We have to have a practitioner program with B Minerals because this is the first thing we give our clients. Because once the clients start taking the minerals, then every other protocol and thing that we add actually makes a difference and they start metabolizing it, their body is able to utilize it, and they gain momentum in their health. And that's what every practitioner wants for their client.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a no-brainer,
Is it?
really. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Gosh, and
Amazing.
we've been saying for the last 2 years, really, like if we could take one thing, it'd be minerals, and we tell everybody minerals, minerals. But you've just clarified and really explained this whole theory that we've been just shouting from the rooftops. So
Awesome.
thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's
Learned
my,
so much
my
today.
dream is, yeah, to bring this message out in a way that people can really get it. Because it's one thing for people to say, yeah, our food doesn't have minerals, or yeah, you need minerals, but that's a big word. Like what the, and literally you go to the health food store and there's a whole wall of stuff and you're like, yeah, forget it. I can't deal with that.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah, the
overwhelming.
mineral section. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, Caroline, we always like to close with one final question. Other than taking your minerals, because this is the foundation we all need, can you give our audience one piece of advice, something they could do today to optimize their health?
Well, the thing that just, I do every day, and I recommend it, maybe it's not advice, but it's a recommendation, is to start the day with a connection with yourself. And that's what I do every morning. When I first wake up, come to consciousness, I spend some time with my little child, myself, that part of myself that's maybe a little sleepy, wants to curl up and go back to bed, isn't sure she's ready for the day, doesn't know what's going to happen, and is maybe worried that something bad might happen, isn't sure she's going to get all the food she needs and the water and everything, that no one's going to really take care of it. And I assure her, look, we're in this together. We're going to go out and here's what's going to happen today. This, and this. And what do you think about those things? So really, I mean, really commit to and develop a very intimate relationship with oneself.
That's
I
beautiful. I've never heard advice like that.
I know it's just so, gosh, the self-compassion and care is incredible. I kind of thought you were going to say dance every day. This is making it even more important.
Little
And then
Caroline might be
maybe,
dancing.
if when you're in the morning and the child's like, I want to dance today, then you better turn on some music and dance.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes,
I
you
love
throw
that.
good dance parties. We're excited to be back at a conference with you.
Likewise. Oh, yeah, I love to dance, as you guys know.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Well, thank you so much. We're going to send everyone to your book and to Be Minerals. We'll make sure our code is Biohacker Babes per usual. Use it. This is an amazing gift to anyone, everyone in your life, and we're just so happy to share. So thank you for your time and your wisdom, and we had a great time and learned so much today.
Thank you so much, you guys. It's been an absolute pleasure to be with you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yes. And thanks to everyone that tuned in. We will see you next time.